dares to enter the mayhem?
Hello, this is Mohako. What's going on, guys? Today we're gonna go over Happy Chaos.
Soul bad guy.
Let's get right into it. Before we get started, I want to go over some real quick things. I'm a controller player, so I can vouch for controller players. Please do yourself a favor and switch your HS button to the right trigger. Happy Chaos is a negative edge character, which means in order to make one of his moves work, you have to constantly keep a button pressed and then release in order to activate the move. So you definitely want to do that. And number two, we're going to go over the number notation for anime fighting games. If you have a keyboard handy, look on the right side by the number pad, or if you can just visualize it, that's fine too. The number 1, we'll go back to the game, is pretty much on the left side. As you can see, it's a down left arrow. That's 1. 2 would just be holding down. 3 would be down forward. Then you have 4, which is you just hold back. This is all facing from the first player side, left side of the screen. 5 is literally nothing. You don't press anything for 5, so that means neutral. 6 is hold forward or the right on the D-pad. 7 is up left on the D-pad. 8 is up, and then 9 is up forward. Okay? With that being said, we're gonna get into his normals. I'm gonna keep it as simple as possible. It is gonna get a little complicated, but don't worry, we'll go over everything. We're gonna start off with his standing normals. So 5P, which means you just press P, no direction. This normal can be used to anti-air. This normal can be used to check opponents. So like if you kind of have a brain fart or something, you can always run up to someone and do that. You're not gonna get punished for doing that. If they have meter and they try to YRC you, you can always punish them for doing it. Just hold back or down back to try to bait out the YRC. You'll block it. They're -8. You know, just get right into hitting the normals on them and doing the punish combo. Good for when he doesn't have focus meter. You can juggle the opponent in the air with this move. And yeah, that move is for the most part just like a move to check things. It's one of the anti-airs, it's not the main one, but yeah. And of course you can Roman cancel. Roman cancel is when you press 3 of the 4 regular buttons, not including dust. And what happens is when you hit dust or it's on block, you get a Roman cancel, or on whiff, you get a Roman cancel. Same thing when you're running or in the air dashing, so on and so forth, the blue RC. All right, so it can cancel into, you know, that stuff. Next up, we're gonna go to the other P normal, which is 6P. Now 6P is usually the go-to anti-air move. So if someone tries to jump in on you, like so, you're actually gonna have him to not block when I do that. As you can see, he got hit. He got knocked right out of the air. That's 6P. That's the main use. Of course, you can cancel into his specials, which we will go over later. He has a bunch of special moves you can cancel into. I'm going to show you what you can do with that. All right. And if someone shoots a fireball, like Kai, for example, sometimes, depending on how fast it's going, you can 6P right through it because it has invul from the head upward. So for whatever reason, I guess it counts toward the fireball too, but we're just gonna go with it, it works. All right. Next, we're gonna go into his 5S. Don't press any directions, just press S, that's 5S. This is a good poke normal, use it sparingly, it's slow. If you whiff it, they can whiff punish you, so be careful of that. It can cancel into all his special moves. It can be Roman canceled. You can super cancel as well to both his 2 supers. On counter hit, you can cancel into steady aim, shoot them, get a pretty nice combo, get some good corner carry, so on and so forth. This is a pretty solid normal with good range. Next, for the S normals is his 6S, aka forward S. This, just like the other move, it can be used as an anti-air normal, but it's not a primary one. It's very, very, very situational, like so. Sometimes, depending on the angle and depending on who's jumping at you and what they're doing, you'll either trade or outright beat them if they were too late, and you'll knock them back really far to get some really good juggle combos off this. So do keep this in mind. You can cancel into his 5HS from this, which we'll go over once we get to that. Cancel into all his other specials, his super, very, very, very important. You're going to be canceling into super from this move a ton when you play this character. So definitely you want to get this down and practice that. All right. So that's it for his S normal standing. Next, we're going to go into his 5K. His 5K is jump cancelable. So you can jump in any direction after you do it. You can air dash out of it too. You can forward dash, very important for later. You can go into some extra stuff from that. And it does what's called a Gatling. A Gatling is simply when you're using normals, and it just tells you what normals can connect into other normals. So, for example, you can do something like that. That's a Gatling, so on and so forth. All right. But yeah, this normal is good because it can be used as like a little miniature poke. Not one of the big pokes, but like a little miniature poke. You can kind of check someone. And if it does land and you need some resources, I'll show you the trick what you can do later. But yeah, this is a pretty good one. But moving on to the next one, we're gonna go into his 6K. This is a low hitting normal. Doesn't really look like it, but it is. Has surprisingly pretty good range. As you can see, I keep walking back and going back. Now I finally missed, but I was back pretty far, and then it finally missed. But really good range. It makes him step forward a bit, allows him to continue the pressure, so on and so forth. It can be Gatling from his 5K and his close S, like so. All right. Be careful not to do this though, 5K 6S, because when you do that, you can be thrown. Let's see if I can have the dummy to do that. Just gonna throw like so. Oops. Wrong one. After block. There we go. Oops, sorry about that. Alright. So doesn't work when you just do it like that. Obviously it's not a punish, but as you can see, that was from a 5K. Every time you do that, you are going to get thrown. Unless it's from that distance. But even so, I still wouldn't recommend that, because unless you've really practiced that spacing, you're gonna get thrown every time you do it. So, especially you're that distance, it's a free throw. So do keep that in mind whenever you're using that 5K. Just don't Gatling into it if you're too close. You will get thrown out, and that's not fun. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to move into his HS, his heavy slash normal. 5HS at the ready. Chaos pulls out his gun, and a blue reticle comes and homes in on the opponent. In order to shoot, press and hold heavy slash and then release it. This is why earlier I had you, if you're a pad player, to switch your button to the right trigger. It gives you easy access, and you can keep using your thumb for all the rest of the buttons without having to sacrifice playing, you know, a weird sort of play style, like a claw play style. You don't do that. You know I don't, but you don't have to do any of that. You just keep playing as you would. The only difference is your pointer finger is usually going to constantly be ready to press that right trigger. Does two things. Uses bullets, and it uses focus. If you run out of focus, as you can see, he does this animation. That's no bueno. That's no good. Make sure you always keep an eye out on that focus gauge at the bottom left, which is that teal looking greenish color, yellow when you're not using it. And then of course the bullets right above it. To get the focus back, you do 214S, or yeah, 214P, I mean, sorry, 214P, right? But you are very vulnerable when you do this, so you have to get very creative. And I'll show you that in a bit. And then of course, to get the bullets back, you press crouch twice and punch. Those can both be canceled from the normals, so pretty helpful. Just make sure you're very careful when you're doing it, because obviously you're not always safe after every single normal into that, unless they got counter hit. All right. And of course, to put the gun away, last but not least, either press 2HS at the same time, 1HS at the same time, or 3HS at the same time. Very important, because sometimes someone might do something from full screen, like a Ramlethal's laser super. If you had the gun out, you weren't actually doing anything, but you had the gun out, and you see the super flash, you can put the gun away and not take all that damage, and then she just gets in, and you know, that's no fun. All right. Moving on to the crouching normals. 2S. That's going to be your main hook. This hits low. It's one of his many low hitting normals. All right. This move can also be used in conjunction with his fire, which is the 5 heavy slash. I'm going to take this opponent off of blocking everything so I can show you what I mean, just how good this normal is. All right, make sure that's off. Something like that. That is one of the many reasons why this normal is so good. It just allows you to get in safely, whether it's on block and especially hit. It's just such a good normal. Hits low, on counter hit. Show you that real quick. We're gonna force a counter hit. Look at how many plus frames he is. Like, you can literally go into fire. Obviously that's not optimal. I'm just giving you a very basic example of that. All right. And this move just has such good range. It can go into all his special moves. You can mix people up with having them guess what you're gonna do out of that move. You can Roman cancel it. You can super cancel it. I wouldn't recommend doing his first super into it, but his second one where he gets his energy back, I would recommend doing that if you absolutely have to. But yeah, otherwise, that's pretty much that move in a nutshell. And then of course you have his 2K. That's like his third or so low hitting normal. I'm gonna take the counter hit off. But yeah, this hits low. As you can see, opponent had to block low to block the move. Very good normal. You can use it to stagger people. You know, just keep doing that. But usually you'll have the gun out when you're doing that. Something like that. All right. And it Gatlings into his 2D. And then of course, to layer it further, let's say the opponent were to block all that stuff you just did, right? You can do something like this. And it makes you safe. They cannot punish you for doing that. They cannot punish you. They can burst you, they can YRC you, but they can't punish you for doing that. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now we have his 2P. His 2P is pretty much his fastest normal. This allows you to interrupt people when they think that you don't know that it's not their turn anymore after they did something that was pretty negative. You know, they'll try to sneak in an extra move or something. You can check them with 2P. You can YRC bait people with stuff like that. See if I can set the dummy up for that real quick. But yeah, see, after block, Roman cancel. That wasn't the one. I'm not sure if I can set it up, but you get the idea. We're gonna have the dummy to block just everything. If they block and then they Roman cancel, like it's a yellow RC, you can punish them for doing it. Unfortunately, I can't show you that right here just because it's kind of stupid how they have it, but actually have it set to 1. Yeah, it's not gonna work. But anyway, yeah, trust and believe when I say when you do that and they YRC, just hold down back as you're doing it. You will punish them, pre-punish. Pretty basic stuff, but you know, it's definitely good to know. Just keep that in mind when you are doing that. Okay? Now, with that being said, the last normal is 2D. Oh, now it wants to work. Oh, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Alright, turn this off. Yeah, his 2D, it's a low hitting move. It knocks down on hit. This is going to be your main thing you use when you want to get resources back. So his focus, his reload, so on and so forth. That's your go-to. And then of course the Gatlings for it. You can Gatling from his close S. You can Gatling from his 5K. And last but not least, his 2D. And just in case I forgot, I'm pretty sure I did, but just in case I forgot it, once again, his close S. It's when you're close up to the person, you don't press any direction, you just press S. This is very safe on block. You keep your turn. You can jump cancel it, you can do all that stuff. You can Gatling, like I just mentioned, it's 2D. Very solid normal. You can special cancel both specials. You can juggle with it. Very, very, very important. You're gonna see that a lot. And you can Gatling into his command normals, like his 6S, his 6K, so on and so forth. And of course, fire. You can't forget that. With every normal you do, you cancel into fire. The convenience of playing Chaos. Now moving into the special moves. First up, we have steady aim. 214S. When you do this, Chaos pulls out his gun. The reticle goes on the opponent, you lock onto him. The bad news is, if you do this, you cannot block, you cannot move, you can't do anything except cancel out or fire. To cancel out of it, you do the same exact input. So 214S. He puts his glasses back on and he keeps the gun out. So to make it a little bit more complex, but it's going to make sense when you play him, to cancel out and get back into his regular stance when the gun's not out, you do steady aim, cancel out, and then for safe measures, you do 1 HS, and it'll look something like this. In one smooth sequence, he puts the gun away, he puts his glasses back on, letting you know he's not in steady aim, and yeah, you're safe again. And you start to get your focus meter back. This move has something known as a guard crush. I gotta put the opponent on all guard. The longer he holds the gun on the opponent, the more damage it does, the more chip damage it does if they're blocking, and the more hit stun and block stun it does, all right? So you can tell if you did it right because the opponent will cock back, like they'll slide back, like what Soul just did. One more thing to note, and this is what makes this move even that much stronger. When you shoot the opponent with steady aim, you can reload cancel like that, or you can focus cancel. Do note, if you shoot them and you're doing something like that, oh man, you're just missing out on so much pressure, plus frames, everything. So make sure to time your steady aim. Let it hang on them for a little bit. Obviously, that's when you don't have curse on, which is going to be the next thing we go into. Because let's say we're going to set the dummy to do something. Let's see. Counter hit, after block. We'll do S. We'll do it right in his face. See that? You can still get counter hit because that move was nerfed, but just to kind of give you an idea, you know, you definitely want to not only space it out well enough, but you want to make sure that it's the guard crush version and not the regular hit stun. I mean block stun, I'm sorry. So with that being said, take that off. We're going to go into his next normal, which makes steady aim even that much scarier. That is his curse ball. 2, 3, 6, P. Or quarter circle forward P. Chaos jumps back and throws a ball at the opponent. Good for gaining some space like that. You can do a backdash after that, and then you're about more than half the screen away. And then you can do something like this. You know, kind of keep him guessing and everything, but this is a very, very, very good special. And of course, off the throw, you can do something like this. You can hit him with 2S, cancel into a curse, and you're almost full screen. Very, very, very good. Yeah, you're pretty much full screen when that happens. Hit him with that OTG 2S normal into the curse ball cancel, and then start hitting them with the steady aim. Or you can fake them out, and you can just cancel without actually doing a shot into either reload or curse. Okay? But yeah, that's pretty much the main use of curse. Be careful. If you do curse too many times with backdashes, scapegoat, anything that makes the character move backwards, it adds up points for his negative penalty. So don't do it too many times in a row. You know, use it sparingly. Obviously still use it, but don't, you know, use it too many times in a short period of time. Otherwise, you'll get a negative penalty. You'll lose your burst. You know, lose all that stuff. You don't want that to happen. It's not good. You'll lose all your super meter. All right. So that being said, we're gonna move on to his next special. The 2 resource ones I want to go over, which is focus, 214P, and reload, 22P. So just crouch twice and press P. Both of these get his resources back. This one gets back his focus. All right. This one gets back his bullets. Use them at very specific times. You can always use both of them no matter what opponent you're facing when you've knocked them down. Like that. And like that. Get the bullets back. And take this opponent off of all block so that way I can show you what it looks like off of a typical 2K 2D. And get some bullets back. Do keep in mind, the less bullets you reload back, the more advantageous you are. So you can do a safe jump off of it. Something like that. Alright? And then of course you focus. But when you focus, you're not as safe. You pretty much kind of like lose your turn if you do that. So just keep that in mind as well. Of course, he has the roll. To do the roll, it's 214K. You can do it after a canceled normal or something like that, or something like that, something like that. You get the idea. Basically, he has many ways to cross up with the roll. Don't be too obvious with it. You can be thrown out of it. So we're going to set up where the opponent counters with the throw. Yeah, as you can see on Soul's side of the screen, it said punish. That's a guaranteed punish. So be very careful with that. If they see the roll coming, they can just throw you out of it. So, but yeah, you can use it to cross up and stuff. Something like this. Hold on, take the counter off. We're gonna pretend he doesn't know I'm gonna do it, so I can kind of show you what it looks like. Something like that, something very basic. Or you can just roll right past them and then shoot. See? It'll look something like that. But yeah, that's one of the main uses of roll, is that. Alright? And of course, last but not least, we cannot forget the clone, aka Scapegoat. Scapegoat puts out a clone of chaos, and what you can do with it is up to you. The main use is kind of, you know, get the opponent away from you so you can get some resources. Beware, it does take away some health. Obviously, I'm in training mode, so you're not going to see that with the health regeneration on. It takes about, I think they said 5 or 10% of his health now, so use that sparingly too. But if you're playing really good, it's not too big of a penalty, but still use it sparingly because you can still get a negative penalty if you do a backdash or anything that will be too many times backwards. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, his specials. I'm gonna make him lose all his focus. Super focus. 214, 214P gets super focus. Does two things, like you saw before. Number one, it's gonna get his bullets back. Gets all his focus back. Number two, he basically uses less focus anytime he shoots. So combining steady aim, curse, and super focus makes him very powerful. Steady aim has more accuracy than at the ready. And then with the curse, you get faster guard crushes and stuff like that. And you can just keep getting his resources back like so. You know, every time you shoot, whether it's steady aim shot or that, remember, it is cancelable into his special moves, so keep that in mind. Something like that. So yeah, that's why super focus is really good. The buff only lasts for a short amount of time, but do note you will get all your focus back when you do it, no matter what. So, you know, you'll always be able to get your resources back if you have meter. So keep that in mind. Deus Ex Machina. Half circle back, forward, X. So, in the more complex term, you do 6, 3, 2, 1, 4, and then press 6 and S at the same time. So half circle starting from the front, going back into 6S. This is pretty good because it hits people from full screen. Doesn't matter if they're in the air, they're on the ground, whatever. Hits them from full screen. Does a pretty solid amount of damage. It juggles. And of course, it causes an easy wall break, which helps Chaos to get all his meter back and all that stuff. And that's when all the fun begins. So you can cancel that from most of his normals. You're mostly going to do it from this normal, so on and so forth. You know, that special is really strong. So keep that in mind. Be careful when you do it too, because if you mistime it from a juggle, if the opponent is too low after you cancel from, let's say, a 6S, they're gonna block it, they're gonna get their turn back. But also, he gets all his bullets back when he does it. So I'm just gonna show you an example. Oops, I gotta stop reloading. I'm so used to reloading after that. Just get the focus back. Yeah, it's muscle memory at this point. But yeah, as you can see, I just got all my bullets back. Very good. Alright. Now, we're gonna go into some combos with Happy Chaos. Let's take this dummy off of blocking everything. Very basic combos first. Very basic. For example, 5K shot, and then when the shot confirms, make sure you don't do it too early or it'll look like that, and then you can't connect anything unless you do another shot. You don't want that. That's not as efficient. Something like this. All right. 5K, shoot, and then 2D, and then either reload or focus or go for a safe jump, depending on your positioning. Obviously, right there, you can't go for a safe jump. Next combo, 2K, 2D, into reload or focus. These are his more important combos. They're bread and butters just because you're going to be doing this a lot so you can get your resources back. Of course, you have your close S 2D, and to reload or focus. You should still be safe after that. After a knockdown like that versus a throw. So that is the difference between a throw knockdown and, of course, a knockdown from 2D. You can just, as you can see, I had plenty of time. I mistimed the meaty, but you know, since the dummy wasn't set for anything, you could visually see just how many plus frames I had, even though I messed up the meaty timing. But so those are some more of his basic combos. Then of course you have the starter ones to start juggling, which would be close S. You can do 2D after that, at the ready 2, 3, 6 S, and then you can start juggling them with his 6S into steady aim and so on. It's gonna sound a little complex, so why don't I just show you instead? It'll look something like that. We're not gonna break the wall. I just kind of wanted to show you what it looked like. Of course, you can just do a raw 2D if, you know, somebody just whiffed the burst, you blocked it, you can run up and do something like this. Hit them with the Deus Ex Machina to break the wall. Look how much damage I did off that. That was a pretty good amount of damage. Just some of his more basic combos. Of course, this one right here, this is a very important one because it allows you to get in. Oops. But you get the idea. Yeah. Basically hitting that 2S into a couple of shots, into the 2D for the knockdown. And then I usually get the focus back because his shots were nerfed. He uses up more focus when he does a regular at the ready shot. Right? You can kind of like go for a safe jump or something. Alright? Yeah, some of his more basic stuff. And then, of course, you can't forget the 5K 2D. These I'm showing because you just need to know how to do that. Now, let's say you're like, okay, I know how to get resources back. I want to see some more combos. I want to do some more damage. I got you, no problem. Something like that. So you can sub instead of doing 5K 2D, close S 2D, 2K 2D. If you don't want to get resources back, cancel into his special version of at the ready, like so. It's when he flips the gun up and it's an actual attack. So, all right, let's say the opponent knows what you're gonna do, or this guy's gonna walk up to me and hit me with the low. I'm just gonna block low and just keep blocking him, all that stuff. This is where the stagger pressure comes in, like so. All guard. And then they have to guess if you're gonna either strike them or throw them. This is where this mix-up comes in. You take the dummy off of guarding. Say this. And then you can just go for some overheads with that 5D. So we're gonna pretend. Yeah. We're gonna pretend like I did a couple of 2Ks. Actually, we'll just take them off a block all entirely. Something like that. But yeah, just mix it up. You can even mix in some 2Ps. Keep them guessing. You know, just experiment. You can see all the different ways you can get into the knockdowns. But once again, if we're talking just strictly combos, we're not too worried about getting knockdowns and all that, even though it's very important. I'm going to show you a coast-to-coast combo real quick. Something like that. Pretty good damage. Get them all the way across the screen. Another thing I want to show you, very important for chaos. Speaking of getting resources back, you can basically do this. 5K, if you're not close enough, dash cancel, right? And then you can always set your macro, which is a button that does several inputs. You know, the game has that. I'll show you. Button settings. And then when you go down, taunt, you know, no point in having that. Dash, I macro the dash because, you know, it makes certain things much, much easier. Roman cancel, you definitely want to set that. Psych burst, I don't really need to macro that, but yeah. You can dash macro this. Did you just see that? I just got back not only bullets, but I got back focus all in one sequence, and it was a combo. That's pretty damn good, if you ask me. Alright. Then you also have, of course, the cross-up. Whoops, that was a reset, but yeah, something like that. That was from the cross-up. So we're gonna do a breakdown of some of these combos. We already did the 2S into the shots, into the knockdown. Basically what you do is start shooting. Once you start shooting, dash up immediately. You can do the dash macro. I manually input the dash. It just feels better to me. Into that, 2K, 2D focus. Next up, run up. You can 2K, 2D at the ready. 6K. Steady aim, hold the button. When you steady aim, hold the HS. Release, reload so you can get out of the recovery quickly. And then you can just dash up. And if you didn't release too quickly, you'll get more or less like a clean hit version of the steady aim. They'll stay in the air longer. You can dash up, close S, 5 or 6K, I mean, not 5K. And then you can do it again. So it'll look like this. Post wall break, if you know it's gonna wall splat, I'll show you something. Just cursing. Like that. Like if you know for sure it's gonna wall break, a lot of people, they'll end their combo with this. See? And what that does is, you get your focus back, they wall splat, and then you can do the super. So it's another 2-for-1 deal with one bar. You get focus back and get all your bullets back. Takes practice to remember which ones do which functions, but I promise you, it's just muscle memory after a point, and you go from there. A bit of dirtier stuff to really get in your opponent's nerves and everything. You can do something like this. Oops, let me get the focus on. All right, and then you can just continue staggering them or whatever, or do a safe jump. Do it from that. So to do what I'm doing to continue the air combo, you can dash cancel his 5K into a dash, right? So that's all you do. When you hit him in the air with the 5K, just dash cancel out, but make sure you have the gun out and hold the right trigger to shoot them. And then just don't wait too late to do it. Don't do it too early, but don't do it too late. Do it at the right time, just before you're about to be able to come out of the dash cancel and shoot them, do it again, and then go into 5K, 6S. It'll knock them back far enough. Or like I said before, end it like that. When you know you did enough hits before they hit the wall and they wall splat, and then you can just go into Deus Ex Machina, like so. Okay? Now, if they keep blocking all your stuff, like I said, remember this cross up. I usually do it from close S. because close S, you get way more out of it. You can jump cancel it. That's a cross up. If they're not blocking it the right way, they will get crossed up by that. This is where the dash macro comes in handy, by the way. Hold the dash macro, and the reason why is if you don't hold the dash macro and then you try to come out of it and press S, sometimes you'll get 6S. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. So dash macro, forward jump, fire, don't do them too quick, time them good enough, land, and then do 2K 2D and reload, or focus, like so. Or you can do something like this. Hold on. A little complicated, but I'll show you. Hold on 1 second. Basically, you can cross him up if you want with his JD. But yeah, we're gonna go over his air normals now because I totally goofed up and forgot to go over his air normals. So he only has a couple of air normals, but they're very important though. Of course, his JP, set the dummy to jump. Pretty sure quickest air normal he has. You can pretty much just, even if it's on block, you can make it so that way the opponent comes right back down to the ground. Just keep spamming it. They'll come right back down to the ground. You'll stay safe. And then you can either choose to throw them, cross them up, so on and so forth. You have a lot of options after that. Or you can just back up with the curse ball, you know, and try to get some resources back, or so on and so forth. It all depends on the scenario, the matchup, you know, so on and so forth. His next jumping normal is JK. This is more or less what they call, for setups, a frame killer type move. I usually don't use this as an air-to-air normal. You can, I usually don't, but I usually go to this because it's much faster, or JP. But usually, yeah, you'll use this after for like a safe jump setup. Something like that, you know, let's get the idea. But essentially that normal isn't used as much in my opinion, but that is just the basic use, usually going for safe jumps. That was mistimed. I definitely would have eaten a DP for that. That was mistimed too. Yeah, something like that. We're gonna test it real quick just to make sure or something. After recovery. Oops. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure you practice safe jumps because it allows him to just keep pressure going without having to use his resources. Very, very, very important. But on to the next air normal, his JS. That's going to be one of your primary ways to get in, like that. So after you do your instant air dash JS, either they're going to expect a throw, you to go low, fire at them. They have to guess so many different things in that scenario. It's so messed up. That's one of them. We're going to turn that counter hit off so he stops doing that. Or you can do something like this. Back up. Go for the low again. Just the possibilities are endless, but yeah. Whenever you do this normal, unless it's a safe jump, make sure you cover it with fire afterwards, because if you don't, you pretty much lose your turn. It's just not enough hits unless you literally like hit them. I should say block stun, I'm sorry. But yeah, if you hit them with it in this one block, it's just not enough block stun to really, you know, back you up unless you fire directly after it. So do keep that in mind. But yeah, that's his best jumping air normal. And then of course, we already went over fire. We're not gonna go over that again. Same thing, it's just you're in the air shooting. Pretty much all I have to really say about that. But last but not least, his jumping command normal, which is jump 1, 2, or 3K, one of those directions. Pretty much does a Chun-Li. He jumps off of you. Depending on what version you did will depend on his trajectory for when he's gonna land. So that's just holding down jump in K. This is doing the forward jump K, holding the 3. He goes forward just a little bit. Didn't look like it, but he does. Yeah, he's traveling towards Soul. And then this is the last one. You can do it backwards too. Yeah, pretty much the same as J2K. So it's mainly J2K and J3K you're going to be using. And of course, with that, pull up the gun. You can do stuff like that. You can instant air dash in. That's why it's important to choose whether you want to do J2K or J3K. Because as you can see, that was J3K. You do forward jump, instant air dash, hold 3, press K, release the fire button. If you did it properly, you're going to cross them up, okay? Get yourself some free resources that way. This character is all about knowing how to keep your resources, how to keep the pressure going, and then practicing the execution of putting it all together. Show you some corner stuff. So if you have them in the corner, this is another combo you can do. Not exactly efficient, but it works. We'll go with it. You can do it as many times as you want up until wall splat, and then that's when you're going to do this. Reload, get bullets back, go for a safe jump or a meaty. You can also do this. One up, instant air backdash, go for an instant overhead. Wall break. The possibilities are endless. Of course, you have when they're in the corner, you can do 2K, 5D. 5D is basically just the dust attack. Go for overheads with that. You can keep yourself safe by firing after it. If you land a hit, make sure you fire at the right time. You get a free knockdown after that. Like that. Alright? Or you can continue with stuff like that. The possibilities with this character are endless. Now on to something that people really don't like, but it's part of the character, it's part of his design. You know, go talk to the creators of the game, go talk to Daisuke about this, but steady aim zoning. To do this, make sure you have two things, the focus and make sure you have curse. Steady aim, reload. I'm gonna set the opponent to block so you can see what it looks like when someone's trying to deal with this. All guard, okay? Steady aim. Make sure you curse them first. That's something like what it looks like. So to break it down execution wise, you would do focus, steady aim, hold it a bit, fire, cancel into either reload or focus, and just keep doing it again and again. One of the ways to jail them into this is doing a normal like this, cursing. When you curse them, like you do a curse cancel off of the normal, immediately after the curse hits them, you hold, you press fire after you've thrown the curse, you hold it and then release it. That jails them because they can't move out of that. That's like a confirmed thing when you do it. Like that. That's safe. All that is safe right there. They can't do anything about that. And then you keep the mini game going. Keep an eye out on your resources. Make sure your resources look good. If you start to run low, hey, no problem. You know, you get the ghost out if they still gave up trying to approach you, or if they didn't give up and they're trying to approach you, just stop trying to zone altogether. Start playing footsies. You know, use your 2S. If they try to air dash towards you, you can 6P them. You can get the ghost out to try to catch any normals that they tried to hit you with, assuming that they basically were meterless, and then you can punish them for doing that. All right, so that's, you know, the gist of it. Just make sure you keep all your options open. Try not to do the same stuff over and over and over again. Keep the opponent guessing, keep them frustrated. Hey, that's just part of the character design, you know. Something like that, you know. Show you some examples of lock strings I would probably do. Don't do the focus at the end though. We're in training mode. I was just getting resources back. It's something like this. Okay. You do that. Do this. And you just run up and down. You can do a cross up. Jump back over them, keep shooting. Again, I'm in training mode. Don't do the focus. Because if you do the focus right there, they're going to punish you. You're going to lose your turn. It's not going to be any fun. Alright? So that's pretty much it for now. I kind of just wanted to show the basics of this character. There's way more advanced stuff. I'm not really trying to get into that just yet. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. This is Mohakwa signing out. Thanks for checking out my video. Have a good one.